any regular swamp. Other than swamp, remember I mentioned that there are always conflicts between migrants in here, right? When there's migrants, there are casualties and they dump the bodies into the swamp. So this is actually also the graveyard for the early migrants. So that's why this place was not developed. The Japanese people clear up the swamp and then develop the place for the market. That's why some people say this place is actually haunted because it used to be a graveyard. Well, I don't know about the ghost stories, but there's a very interesting story about why this place it looks like this. So, when you look from the top of the building, sorry, it's a bit small, but you might be able to see that this place is built into two parts. The first part that you can see in front of us is octagonal, so it's 8 sides. The second part at the behind is actually a cross. Some people say, just a rumor, but some people say this architect combined a very holy symbol from the west and a very strong symbol from the east to combat the ghost. So that's why I want to show you this place, this thing. This thing is called bagua. You might have seen it. This is also a traditional shape that is from Taoism that developed into like a local belief that is a very powerful shape. This thing can use to be predicting your future or fending off the devils. So sometimes you will even see there at some old houses, you will see a mirror with this shape in front of their door. Because it said if you hang a mirror in this shape in front of your door, devils cannot enter your house. So you can see this is a powerful thing. So that's why people joke, maybe the architect combined this with the cross to fend off the devils. But we don't actually know why he did that. He didn't leave us a note, but that's how it is. So this is a building with this unique shape that you won't be able to find anywhere else. Okay, so used to be a public market in Japanese time, but afterwards the Chinese came, the ROC government came. Later we'll go into the politics, so if you hear any political terms that you're not sure about, it's fine, I'll explain later. But you just need to know that after 1945, Japanese, they lost, right? They lost the war and they left. So ROC government came from mainland China. So when they came over, they brought over Chinese opera. So this place became a Chinese opera house. After a decade or two, Chinese opera are going out of style. Nobody's watching them anymore. And also we got movies. So it turns into a movie theater. You can see there are a lot of posters. So in after 45 and before the 80s, it used to be a movie theater. Later, it's still a movie theater, but after the 80s, there are several changes. First is people start to have televisions at their home, so theaters are not as popular anymore. The second thing is there start to get a lot more theaters nearby, so it's become competitive. The third thing is that you can see from the picture, it's getting crowded. So you can see the house is still here, but it's now surrounded by a lot of houses and a lot of population. So this place becomes a little bit old and run down. This place was built in the 1920s. So by this time, it's already 60-year-old. So the place is old, and then just people don't really want to come here anymore. Well, this made this place a heaven for another community. So in the 80s, this area, because it's easy to access to because there are different entrances, but it's also a little bit hidden away from public's eyes. So this becomes a very good place for the LGBTQ community. Does anyone not know what LGBTQ group is? Oh, good. Okay. So for the gays and lesbian communities, they had to hide away because the society didn't really embrace them. So at that time, it's really difficult for them. So this movie theater actually become a very good place for them to be able to join in with their community and to seek haven. This is also where the first gay bar in Taiwan is. So when you're walking over, you might have noticed already, and also along this way, you might see some rainbow flags already, right? Because rainbow flags is the sign for the LGBT community. So this place, starting from that time, has become a very important gathering spot for them. Nowadays, they don't have to hide anymore because now Taiwanese society is a lot more embracing, and also also, actually in 2019, Taiwan has become the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. So it's a very big step for a lot of people, and also it's because of a lot of people's hard works. So nowadays, this has become a very important local culture. There's still gay bars, still shops catering to LGBTQ groups, but it's also a place that is open for everyone. So if you're nearby this area and you're looking for some like outdoor beer and just a nice vibe with shows, even drag shows, this is a place to go. Yeah. So I come here with my friends as well. So during Fridays and Saturday nights, here are nice vibe. So you can just enjoy your drinks here with your friends. So this is a very big step. That's why also when people talk about Ximen area in Taiwan, it's also represents the LGBTQ community that have finally being able to stand equally like in society. So it's very important for us. And also every year, we just miss it, but in October we also host the biggest gay pride in East Asia. In actually the whole Asia, only Israel has a bigger one. We also have the second biggest gay pride in Taiwan. So if next time you're in Taiwan in October, you can come and enjoy. The pride will start from here and go all the way to the presidential office. It's a big thing. So it's a happy festival for everyone. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I want to introduce about this place. Nowadays, it's not a theater anymore. Other than the second floor, there are some performance, some dance. And inside the place, it's now not a market, but usually Taiwan-related like souvenirs and products. It's actually quite a good place to shop for souvenirs if you want. So we're already running a little bit late, but I think I still give you guys a bit of time. I will meet you guys at this store at let me see, 12:25. Is that okay? So about 10 minutes. If you go inside, you can check out the shops, and also there's a coffee shop on your right hand side, souvenir shop on your left hand side, and also a toilet. That's our last like really clean toilet, so you can use it. Yeah. Okay. So I'll see you guys in about 10 minutes. You're recording?
You'll be famous.
Now I'm under pressure. Don't put me on YouTube.
Well, of course I will. That's the plan.
Then I'm charging you.
That's the plan. Okay.
Okay, can you guys all hear me? Okay, so here is 228 Peace Park that I want to share with you guys. When you hear a place is called peace, it's probably because of something that is not very peaceful. So this is about an incident, we call it 228 incident, that happened in Taiwan that influenced us a lot. First thing about this place is that this is the first European style park built by the Japanese. Because before Japanese came, there's no such concept as leisure outside work. So they brought over this concept as well to build this park for people to relax in. Now, what happened about 228? Now we need to go back when the ROC government first came to Taiwan. Well, when they first came to Taiwan, the local people are quite happy because they feel like even though the life under Japanese ruling is not too bad, but it's still outsider, right? So they are happy that finally someone from their hometown, homeland, from China is coming to rule them. So the locals are very excited to see the ROC people coming over. But when they come over, the locals are very disappointed. Why is that? Because it's not the winner that imagined that won the war. The ROC government is actually just a bunch of soldiers who are very tired and very poor and very rude. So they are here, they rob people, they kill people, they actually didn't come over like have a good image. So locals are not very happy. Over the few years after, there are other conflicts coming up. First one, the ROC government, they were just at war with the Japanese people, right? So when they came over, they saw locals, Taiwanese, wearing kimonos, Japanese clothes, speaking Japanese. Of course they are not happy. So the ROC government didn't like the locals. The second problem is that because of that, they didn't really want the locals to participate in public affairs, because originally they only want Taiwan as a military base, right? They want to rule this place in an efficient way. So the locals are not allowed to take important positions in governments or in schools. The third problem is that there was still a civil war with the communists in mainland China, right? So that means they need a lot of resources. They took a lot of resources from Taiwan and shipped it over. So much that they took rice, they took meat, they took woods, they took metal, so much that the inflation rate goes up so high. At one point of time, Taiwan's rice price is actually 3 times higher than the one in Shanghai, even though Shanghai is under civil war. That's because they took all the resources in Taiwan and shipped it back to mainland China. So Taiwan's life become bad. During Japanese era, at least the economy is not too bad, but now the life is bad. And also, under Japanese ruling, towards the end, Taiwanese are actually allowed to learn the concept of autonomy. So they start to learn about speaking for themselves and participating in public affairs. Now ROC government coming over and forbidden that. So you can see there are conflicts starting from the people who came over with the ROC government and the local, the Taiwanese. Now, the year was 1947, 2 years after they moved over from mainland China, 1945. That day is 27th of February, 227. An old lady was selling cigarettes on the street. But at that time, selling cigarettes is actually illegal because the government regulates that. So an inspector saw that. He said, "You are not supposed to sell this. Give me your money and your cigarettes." The old lady, Miss Lin, she said, "Sorry, inspector, but life is very difficult right now. I have a family to raise. Can you not take maybe my cigarettes or my money?" She was pleading. But the inspector said, "No, this is illegal. I'm gonna take all of them." Now the crowd around is not happy because they already feel like the government is not doing great, and now you are taking money and things from old ladies and to make their life difficult. So the crowd becomes a little bit angry. The inspector was nervous because they knew the locals weren't happy with them. So they fired a warning shot. Something bad happened. Unfortunately, that warning shot killed a bystander. So this becomes a full conflict between the inspector and the locals, the crowd. It becomes a bit chaotic. So they came over, the people start to demand justice and explanations from the government. The government said, "Okay, I'll give you the explanation, come back tomorrow." But on 22A, that is the next day, 28th of February, instead of trying to calm the crowd down, they start to hunt down the crowds who were having trouble with the government. So instead they started a massacre, starting to shoot people because they want to quiet the locals down. Some people escaped from that chaotic place and ran over to that building just next to us. It's under renovation now, but it used to be a radio station. They broadcast this to the whole Taiwan. So they tell people that the government is doing this to us. They are shooting at us. So this starts from a conflict in Taipei, spread to the whole Taiwan, and becomes a big problem. Now, remember the ROC government, they were here only as a military base. They still have a civil war to worry about. So they asked their leader, Chiang Kai-shek, that's the guy we'll introduce later, in mainland China, what should we do to deal with this problem? He said, "I'm going to give you more troops, just calm people down." So instead of trying to communicate with the locals about their needs, the ROC government started this massacre of the couple after the next few months that nobody actually know what the casualty is because they refuse to unseal the records. So nowadays some people say the casualty is probably up to 30,000. It has been a bad time and very dark time. So they start to target not just the people who are having problem on that day during the incident, they also start to target people who are trying to speak with for the locals, especially the intellectuals. The people who were educated during the Japanese era, they were trying to say, okay, we need to become the bridge between the locals and the government, but those people were also shot by the government. So it became a massacre and very dark period. Now, that's a way of them calming people down and just to shut people up. After a few years, they also, in the next few years, they also try to control Taiwan in a tight way. So they issued the martial law. For people who don't know what a martial law is for a country in a specific time to rule their people in a military way because they are catering with maybe like a catastrophe or like a big problem or like at war. Usually martial law is only for a short time because it will restrict people's freedom. But the martial law that ROC government implemented in Taiwan lasts for 37 years. It's actually the second longest in the world, only after Syria. So during that 37 years, people are not allowed freedom of speech, freedom of gathering, freedom of protest, or anything, or publishing. So during that time, people are taught that if you say anything bad about the government, you will be disappeared, and you are not allowed to gather or speak out. And that is also why, even though after 37 years this is lifted, my parents' generation, they are still afraid of politics. A lot of them will tell us not to touch politics, otherwise you will get into trouble, and politics is very dirty. So this becomes a very big negative influence on people's mindset when it comes to politics. They will try not to participate. So after 37 years, this is lifted, and because of a lot of people's hard working, I'm not going into details, but finally Taiwan transformed and lifted the martial law and become the first democratic countries in Southeast Asia. And we are also become the democratic country that we get to vote and just to function as a fully functioned democratic country. But because of, so even though nowadays that we can vote and everything, we can form parties, because of that time, a lot of people are still afraid of participating in politics. And there are two other things I want to say. The first one is that is why our second biggest party, the Green Party, is only less than 30 years old. It's because they weren't allowed to form a party during that time. So they were only formed toward the end of that martial law. That's why they're so young. The second thing is that, how about the 228 incident? Actually, since 228 incident was ordered by officials from the ROC government, that is from the Nationalist Party, who is still at power in Taiwan, so the records about this incident is never unsealed. So even until now, we don't really know who did this, who fired the shots, or who was killed and disappeared. A lot of things are still unknown. So that is something that we want to work on nowadays. So now 228, the 28th of February, is now a national holiday, and that is also why we built this monument. And every year the Taipei mayor will have a ceremony, not ceremony, but an event here to pay respect to the people who sacrificed in that incident. The awkward thing is that since people are still learning to speak about politics, a lot of people still feel like 228 is not something to talk about. So that's one of the reasons why I want to share this with you guys, because it's actually a very important thing happened in Taiwan's history. The second funny thing is a little bit ironic, because the current Taipei mayor is the great-grandson of Chiang Kai-shek. So it's a bit awkward because the family Chiang, they are still sort of in power in Taiwan, so people are doubting his ability to really look back and to correct the wrong things in the history. So we still have a lot of transitional justice to work on, that is to look back at the wrongs that the government has done to the country, but we are working on that. Yes. So that is 228 incident. Any questions? Yeah? Okay, so this is the stop. Next stop, we're going to our last stop, that is Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall. I'm going to talk about the guy who ordered 228 incident and also why it's so controversial. He's probably the most loved and hated guy in Taiwan's contemporary history. Okay, that's our last stop. I'm gonna try to make it as fluent as possible. I'm sorry that we overrun. This place is called Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, dedicated to the guy Chiang Kai-shek. So who is he? He was the leader of the Nationalist Party for a very long time. He was also our president for 5 terms. So basically there weren't any laws preventing him from doing that. So he basically was a dictator at that time. And he was, like I said, the most loved and hated person in recent history of Taiwan. I'll explain why. Hated, of course, one of the big reasons that he just ordered the 228 incident and he actually killed a lot of Taiwanese basically. But why is it so loved is, one reason is that people believe he's the reason why communists didn't rule Taiwan. So he fended off the communists. The second thing is he did a lot of good economy policies. So for example, land reformations to make sure the farmers can get their own land. Also making the education compulsory. So these are the big things that he did. He also did a lot on infrastructure. So between him and also his son, who took over after him, he was also president for I think 2 terms or 3 terms. They actually made Taiwan among the 4 little dragons in Asia. I'm not sure if you have heard this term, but 4 little dragons in Asia is referring to 4 places in Asia that was doing really well in economically in the second half of 20th century. So that was Hong Kong, South Korea, Singapore, and Taiwan. So a lot of people believe that it's because of the Chiang Kai-shek and his son that Taiwan was able to have these economical achievements. So that's one of the things that they did really well. But other than this, you can tell that he's so loved that it's actually kind of propaganda kind of like. So before he passed away, he said that he wanted to maybe have a memorial hall like this, so they built this for him. You can see that this huge gate, 5 little gates, 6 columns, 11 roofs. This is actually the level reserved for emperors that passed away. So you can see that they're trying to build a great man kind of impression that he's such a great man, it's almost like a god or like an emperor. And you can see the manhole there. I think it's under construction. Anyway, he's sitting in the middle of the manhole there, so it's slightly like Tiantan in Beijing if you've been there, and also it's a bit like a Lincoln Center in the US. But they also built the stairs up there to be, I think, 89 stairs, because that's the age he passed away. So you have to climb by 89 stage to pay respect to him. If you want to go up and take a look, but you don't want to climb the stairs, there's an elevator at the back, so no worries. And so basically you can see all this huge place, this whole place is bigger than 30 soccer fields. It's dedicated to only just one man, because they want to show how important he is. We also, the katakana boulevard that I just showed you was actually used to name 介寿路. That basically means longevity. Chiang Kai-shek means happy birthday to Chiang Kai-shek, because they gave that road as a birthday present and as well as the presidential office to him by the government. So you can see it's actually governmental property, but the government gave it to one person as a birthday gift. You can see how important he is. Now, the day he passed away, it was a tragedy. So according to my mom, the whole nation stopped. Teachers were crying in class, telling the students that a great man passed away, we have to mourn him. So even the kids who don't know who he is had to go up to the street and just to line up and wait to pay respect to him. So that was a very very dramatic kind of way of propaganda to build him up to that. We also have statue of him everywhere in all the schools. So recent days, people start to think that even though he's a great man, he did a lot for Taiwan. But first, he also did a lot of bad things. Second, there are other great people that has to be remembered, right? So it's weird that we dedicate so many things to him. So there has been a de-Chiang Kai-shek movement recently. One thing they do is that they remove the statues of him and put it away. But we didn't destroy it like other dictators. We are, hey, I'm good shape. Because there are still people who really much admired him. So they put all the statues in a park in Taoyuan. There are over 200 Chiang Kai-shek statues. There are Chiang Kai-shek sitting, Chiang Kai-shek standing, Chiang Kai-shek riding a horse, drinking coffee there. So if you're still an admirer of him, you can still go there. But if you're not, you don't have to see him everywhere. So that is a good thing for everyone. And also nowadays, people are starting to think maybe this place, even though now it's a public place, we can have reuse it for something else, or maybe have other purposes. Now this is part of the transitional justice that we start to think about as well. So now we also have, other than the main hall, there are some exhibitions underneath. If you're interested in history, there are exhibitions on him and other topics as well. This one is the music theater. The music hall. That one's the theater. These are actually the biggest and most important performance venues in Taiwan. So if you're interested in anything art related, you can check out these two places as well. Underneath, you will find restaurants, bookstores, souvenir shops, and toilets as well. So after this, if you want, you can check out the place. There's a restaurant I recommend underneath you're looking for lunch. It's called Chen Shui Tang, means spring water hole. It's the inventor of bubble tea from Taichung. But they also do a pretty good beef noodles and just other noodles. So it's a good place for lunch if you're looking for somewhere nearby. Just nearby. Yeah, just down there. You can see people coming out. That's the place. Yeah. Okay. So this is the end of our tour. Thank you very much for joining me for these 4 hours. Oh, thank you. So like I mentioned earlier, that this is a free tour. So we welcome tips to let us know what you think of. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, no problem. Thank you. Thank you. No problem. No problem. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to find out my bag.